Welcome back, my duelist friends. Casual Duelist here. It is Saturday, so obviously happy Saturday. Welcome to the weekend, my friends. Today's deck is going to get a little weird. By a little weird, I mean it's going to get a lot weird because this is one of those moments where I take the comment section maybe a little too seriously. So, let me show you a little bit of what happened. And I'm filming this ahead of time, so um yeah. So I was asked by user Joe Foe, hello, I got a request. Can you make a deck using only cards from the Battle City box? Basically, the best deck you can the best deck you can make using only this. And I'm like, yeah, that sounds awesome. Let's do this. This is challenge accepted. But when you say Battle City box, we got two of those. So obviously I asked in here, we got Zelmo Jr. wants to see Streets of Battle City. Jofo agrees and clarifies with it. I say you got it. We got this last question. When do you expect to make this deck? Boom, boom. Filming it now. So boop. He's going to get that notification right now. And then I'll clarify with him later that it's going to be this Saturday, obviously. And so what did I do? I could only use cards that were released in this box. So reprints were up for grabs. So not everything is just that printing right now. I tend to sleeve cards once unless there's an errata. I don't tend to use the most current copy of it. But it also means a lot of our side deck and absolutely our extra deck gets destroyed. So let's see how I did, and let's see if you guys want to take this to locals. So first and foremost, I'm getting tired of this skill because I use it so often because it's so broken. This is going to be the ultimate wizardry skill. So turn this over when you use it. When you activate it initially, place a spell counter on each face-up spellcaster that you control. That can have a spell counter placed upon it. And then additionally, once per turn during the main phase, you can place a spell counter on another face-up spellcaster monster you control that you can place a spell counter onto. So again, you guys know where this is headed. This is going to be very reminiscent of Breaker Breaks minus all the other really cool stuff. So obviously, we got to play 3 breakers. Breaker was a part of the Yu-Gi-Moto deck. And again, I guess being the Mary Sue, the main character, means that you get the most decks in the format. And this is no exception. But great reprint here. This came out in the Battle City original box. Got a reprint here. If normal summoned, places a spell counter on itself. Can only hold a maximum of 1 of these. And while it's holding it, it gets 300 attack value added. We can take that off at any point to target a spell trap on the field and then destroy said target. So again, I do this all the time. You go ahead, you summon, you get your counter. You go ahead, you resolve effect, you take off counter. You flip this over, you give him a counter. You go ahead, you resolve your effect again. Then you can go ahead once per turn. You can go ahead and give that back to the man and let him either hold on to it or, I don't know, break another card. So Breaker is going to obviously be putting in work. He's also going to be our restriction to 3 because while I am doing this under the guise that you guys wanted me to do this with the ban list in effect. Because obviously you guys don't want me to play 3 Books of Moon too, right? I didn't think so. So moving forward, we're also going to play 3 copies Chao Sai, the Ghost Stopper. He was in the Arcana portion of the decks. Neither player can activate the effects of spell or trap cards in the graveyard. So just because we're playing under this restriction does not mean our opponent is. I love Waking the Dragon. I hype up Waking the Dragon with every deck list I make. So I need to make sure that when we destroy Waking the Dragon, because we're probably going to, we need to make sure it can't activate. So as long as we don't banish it, it'll try to activate in the graveyard. Chelsea will say no. Same thing to things like Lost Wind, Machine Angel Ritual, a couple of other cards. There's a handful of cards that activate in the graveyard that are spells and traps. He will stop it all. And then if this card is sent from the field to the graveyard, target a spell trap in the opponent's graveyard, banish it. which is good because we are going to be offering this guy at some point, and we're going to need to be able to then, like, in passing, negate that effect anyway. Next card, we're going to play one copy of Dark Magician. Now, you guys can obviously skip this, but you'd be wrong. If you're playing a Yugi's skill, you got to play his trump card. But in all reality, it is a very good, like, just base normal monster card. We are going to special summon it. It's going to be fun. It's not the Magical Curtain. Stop thinking it's Magical Curtain. It's going to be something better. I promise you. But if you don't like him, go ahead, throw him out as a third copy of the next monster, which will be the Magical Marionette. But just remember, if you do pass on this, you have passed on the ultimate wizard in terms of attack and defense. Now, the Magical Marionette, very cool card. Every time a spell card is activated, place one spell counter on this on spell card resolution. Gains 200 value to its attack value for every spell counter he currently holds. And you may remove spell counters in numbers of 2, or 2 at a time, from this card to target a monster card on the field and destroy it. This is going to be super important. We're going to be able to do stuff with this. Ultimate Wizardry can, of course, obviously power him up. It's good stuff. Now, real quick, before we go anywhere, there are 9 monsters here. 6 of them are non-tributes. 3 of them are tributes. It's all good. I need you to note, number 1, this is kind of a spellcaster deck, and 2, this is a dark attribute deck. So when I use the 2 of card Allure of Darkness and point out, I want to say this was in, should be like the Rare Hunters stack of cards. Then again, number 1, this is an excellent reprint. And 2, this has my 2-ups accounted for now. And what we do is we draw 2 cards, banish a dark monster from the hand, and if we didn't have any dark monsters in the hand, we drop the entire hand. So, could end terrible, but doesn't have to. Next up, 2 copies of Hammer Shot, because you don't always go first, and if you go second, it's good to just go ahead and punch whatever the monster is off the field, and this big mallet's going to do the job for us. And again, sometimes the opponent's going to play something like crazy on their own turn. Again, Hammer Shot just going to basically pop the monster, and then we can go ahead and go with our own plays. If Marionette is already on the field, hopefully he's not the toughest thing. If he's not, great. On resolution of the Hammer Shot, we will gain the extra 200 points. So then he should be the toughest card on the field. This is something you guys may choose to alter, but for my playstyle, this just works. Next up, 2 copies of Night Beam, and I don't remember which part of the thing was. I just pulled up a list. Night Beams, this should be another part of the Rare Hunters deck. Target a set spell or trap card that the opponent controls, destroy it without it being able to activate. So again, if we're going after back row, we do want to make sure that things aren't activating. Maybe your opponent's playing Gearfried or something. You want to get rid of the Blast with Chain before it can be equipped and gain the effect when it's destroyed, blah, 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 blah. Night Beam is going to be a great addition to the Breaker lineup and essentially make our opponent's back row useless to them, while Marionette actually powers forward for us. And then, of course, because we are playing Marionette and Breaker, 2 copies Spell Power Grasp, and I want to say this was part of Yugi's deck. Because again, he had the Magicians, he was going for the Dark Paladin during the play. When you activate one of these, target a face-up card on the field that you place a spell counter on it. Then place 1 spell counter on that target. Then you may add another copy of this spell from your deck to your hand. You may only activate 1 copy of this card per turn. Super fair, super awesome, and if you've already got Marionette on the field, Marionette can gain both a counter from the activation and the effect, and from the Ultimate Wizardry all in the same turn, and that can be a plus 600 real quick. So again, like, I don't blame you guys if you don't want to play the Dark Magician, but like, honestly, he's the Ultimate Wizard in terms of attack and defense, so you probably should play the Ace Monster, but hey, I'm not you. You do you. And then last up, we do have a trap card. I said that the Dark Magician and all these spellcasters, this would be really cool. And then we're not going to tribute to play our Dark Marionette or Magical Marionette. And I said, how are we going to do that? Because Arcana gave us the Dark Renewal. That's how. So Dark Renewal. And I need to read this out loud for you guys because number one, that's how I do these videos. And two, I am an absolute idiot. Okay, so let me preface that with not that long ago, I did a Dark Magician Girl deck for somebody who wanted to take Dark Magician Girl to locals. And I missed on this tech because I, like most Yu-Gi-Oh players, chose not to read my cards for some reason and totally missed why this was so good for that deck. So let me go ahead and just preface by saying use this if you're playing spellcasters, just in general. So the effect: when your opponent normal or special summons a monster or monsters, target one of theirs that were summoned and a spellcaster you control, which is like those 9. Send both to the graveyard. So, okay, send, not destroy. That's good news. Then special summon one dark spellcaster from either your deck or your graveyard. So, we can easily punish the opponent with the Dark Magician and be funny about it. Or in all reality, you guys can dust off the third Magical Marionette. Understand that even after Breaker has broken everything he can, the opponent's going to summon something, thinking that they're going to walk all over Breaker. You're going to pop the Dark Renewal and pop the Magical Marionette immediately to the field. And then you're going to start growing its power. It's actually like a stupid killer strategy. And this is just fantastic. This is using things that are just in the streets of Battle City Box. So again, let's say that you spent your, I don't know, $100 and bought your 3 copies or your 3 boxes to get your play set. This is absolutely attainable by you. But that doesn't mean I did not prepare a side and an extra deck. So with that in mind, go ahead, take a screenshot or pause the video, whatever you need to do. Get this taken down into note form, and I'll be right back with the rest of this. All right, so just 1 second, my friends. Let me get my hands out of there. Okay, just 1 second. And before I give you the rest of those cards, I do want you to notice that I put the Ultimate Wizard in terms of attack and defense on top of the Ultimate Wizardry skill. I'm not saying you have to play him, but you should definitely play him. But moving on, right? Extra deck. What are we doing? We're just playing random stuff, guys. You are not summoning any one of these this time round. You're just not doing it. So you might as well pick the 6 out of the however many were released and just enjoy them. Just have them sit there. Your opponent doesn't know that you're playing by this restriction. They assume that you're a speed duelist, and you should probably, if you're running a stack of 6, oh man, what's going to be in the back row? Are they going to have a Waking the Dragon? They might. So again, this is purely cosmetic for us. But for the opponent, this is going to make them ask a couple of questions. Especially if they see the Ultimate Wizard in terms of attack and defense and a material monster that he can play into. Not that they're going to see a card out of your extra deck unless you accidentally flip it up to somehow psychologically torture the opponent. But moving into the side deck, I tried to keep this one simple. And so I only really have 2 cards. I'm playing them as a playset each. I am playing a playset of Lost Winds. This was a beautiful reprint in the back half of the box. Why is this out of focus? There we go. It was in like the back half of the box after all of the structures. And so obviously I want to play this. Our opponent is not going to always be playing by this restriction. This is just for us to do. And so our opponent has access to fusion monsters and a lot of special summoning techniques. Let's cut those monsters in half, take away their effects, okay? And then last but not least, again, since we're doing this already, we might as well play 3 copies of Mind Crush. Now, I know what you guys are thinking. Why would I ever play 3 copies of Mind Crush? And it's a good question. But the better question is, with everything being as predictable as it is right now, and more tutors than ever, would you not like to play 3 Mind Crush? I mean, fine, maybe you don't want to play 3 Mind Crush. We didn't use any 1-ups. Substitute one of them for Floodgate Trap Hole, since it was also a portion of the reprints in this box. And I want to say that was, like, this was in the back half of the box. These were in the Esperoba portion, and I want to say this was Rare Hunter again. I think Rare Hunter gave us some of the best reprints. But this would be the deck and the extra deck. Now, I hope that I have completed this challenge successfully. I want a couple of you guys out there to go out there, take this to locals. Let me know if it works out for you as well as it did during our playtests. And while I was playtesting, yes, I was playing with Dark Magician, not the third magical marionette, because I'm just an absolute goof. And if you liked it, like, comment, subscribe to the video if we've earned it today. Maybe help us out a little more directly with the buy me a coffee, or don't. And most important, even if you don't do any of the other things, I want you right there, the person watching this video, I want you to go out and I want you to do something for yourself today. I want you to do something that you haven't done in a while that you enjoy. Maybe it's going and getting a cup of coffee. Maybe it's watching your favorite TV show. Curl up with a good book. Listen to music. Just enjoy yourself for like however long you need today. Just kind of unstress, okay? And just have a great weekend if you can. Do everything you can to make sure that happens, all right? I hope to see you guys again next time. Later.